Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Petra Pan Apparel YouTube channel, a place where we celebrate women through fashion history. And today is a hair video because for me, a big part of my historical and vintage inspired fashion is the hair, if not the biggest part. Literally the biggest part, but also the most important part. Duke hasn't chewed his bone all day. He waited till just now. Where's your bone? Thank you, sweetie. So the biggest problems I run into when I'm curling my hair is that I use foam rollers overnight, and often my hair isn't able to dry overnight. So I have very fine hair, but very, very thick hair. I have a lot of hair. So even if I don't curl my hair, if I wash my hair before bed, my hair does not dry overnight. Darling, it's grass. What is this? I think it's plastic. It was in his mouth. Ugh. It's good for you. Anyway, recently I've done some really bad wet sets that have failed like a few times in a row, and it's because I haven't been using these special little tricks that I've discovered lately, so I thought, I should share them with you. So for me, the longevity of a wet set is more about how dry it gets versus using a setting lotion or anything. I haven't noticed a huge difference. Setting lotion will help the curls keep their shape a little bit longer. Not even really. I've noticed for me it's much more important to have completely dry curls than to use a setting lotion for longevity. It takes my curls about 18 hours if I don't use any of these techniques for them to dry. So for me, the best thing is to set my hair in like early afternoon if I want to have curls the next day, unless I use some of these techniques. And I am lazy. I like to do it right before bed, so I found some ways that make it work. So I have 3 tips to share with you for how to make sure your wet set dries completely. Another problem I know that people say they have is when they go to do the brush out afterwards, the curls fall out straight away, and I think a big part of that is because they're not completely dry, because that is what happens to me. It's okay. Leave it. Oh, good dog. Good dog. Yeah, hello. Also, the hair on the back of your head, so the curls that are going to be sitting kind of on the back of your head, like on the crown of your head, that hair is the thickest on your head and tends to dry the slowest. So that leads into my first tip, which is to use small sections. I am terrible at doing this because if I use small sections in my hair, I end up with like tons and tons of rollers in my hair, and I don't actually have enough of the same size rollers to even do that. But if you want to just set your hair, not apply any heat or anything, best tip is to use smaller sections, especially back here. You can often get away with bigger sections around your head, but using really small sections in all this area, and that should do the trick. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is applying heat. This is something I do when I set my hair before bed. I will apply heat one way or another. Even though it doesn't dry it there and then, the next morning, even after like sleeping for 8 hours, the curls will dry completely, and the heat is what helps them set and hold their shape. So the first way I do this is actually with a hair dryer before I had my special little vintage bonnet dryer. So I have my little hair dryer here, and I'll actually show you what it is that I do. So with my curls, you'll notice my sections are not particularly small, and that is because I actually set these like yesterday morning. So I did give them the full 18 hours to dry, or more even. So with my dryer, I will set it on the highest heat setting, and then I will kind of spot heat each curl, so just for a few seconds because it does get quite hot on your scalp. So I'll do just a few seconds and then off and just kind of dry my head, and then kind of focus on each curler, especially the ones in the back because they're the ones that have the hardest time drying. So if you do not have a bonnet or a cap dryer, that is the best thing to do, and I noticed a huge difference when I started doing that. He's so happy chewing the bone. I don't want to stop him. Now the best option for applying heat is a cap or a bonnet dryer, which I happen to have a vintage one, but you can buy them new. They don't have to be those cute little vintage ones, but those are a lot more fun to have. So highly recommend those if you can get your hands on one. I use them almost every time I curl my hair now, and I love putting it on, sitting in bed or just sitting and like reading a magazine or something. It's just like one of the most therapeutic things ever. So that is my next trick. What I do with that is I put it on the highest heat setting, leave it for 30 minutes, 40 minutes or so, and then take it off. Again, that does not dry them completely, it just heats them so that when they cool down, they're going to be better set in their curl. Now the last tip that I have for you is, if none of these other things are working for you, what I recommend is actually, instead of using foam rollers, which are basically plastic and don't absorb any moisture, doing rag curls. So this is what I actually started doing before I was using foam rollers. I switched to foam rollers because I like the shape of the curls better, but I realized when I started using these that my hair would actually dry, and if I use these all over my head, I can actually set them the night before and they will dry overnight in like 8 to 10 hours. So what I do was I actually have my own jerry-rigged little rag curlers. So this was some really long strips of like a muslin fabric, which is a little bit thicker. So what I do is I fold that one into thirds, and then I have a just cotton jersey t-shirt that I cut up, and so I wrapped this around this, which is ridiculous and too much work for anyone to do. But basically you want to just get the diameter of whatever you want your curls to be, and then sometimes I'll double this over. So I basically have a drawer on my vanity table that just has all these strips of fabric in it, and then I'll roll it up like that and then roll it in your hair and tie it. It still comes out with a really great shape. Yeah, so definitely recommend this. If your curls are not drying, this is like, this will get the job done. This will help to get them dry. And all you have to do is cut up a t-shirt or something. So if you are out there and you have the same problem as me, it's taken me a couple of years to really kind of figure out the best ways to get my wet sets to dry, because that's always been a problem for me. So if you're out there and you have the same issues, hopefully these tips will help. I'm gonna do a little brush out because this set I didn't apply any heat, but they have been in for probably almost 24 hours now. I set these yesterday morning, I think. I washed my hair. So yeah, that's about kind of the spring back that I usually like to go for. I don't know what I'm doing. I usually take these out from the bottom. Now, sometimes when I wake up in the morning and I feel my curls, so you always check to see if there's any dampness, but sometimes when I feel like they're a little bit damp, it's actually just because they're cold. So what I do is I kind of take my finger and like bury it down into the hair next to the roller, and if I can feel down there that it's dry, then I know they are dry. Because even now feeling these, they actually, I think it's because they're a little bit cold, but they feel a little bit damp, but they are not. So the setting pattern I used for this is parting down the side and then rolling down, up, down, up, down, up. I just find that makes my hair bigger and goes into waves better. That's what I like. Everybody's hair is different though, so. Also, I do not use the plastic clasps that come with the rollers. I just use a bobby pin, so that's what I'm pulling out, is a bobby pin, and then just pulling the rollers off. Then you don't get a kink where the little plastic bits are, and it's much more comfortable to sleep in. The obligatory curl shakeout. Okay, let me get my hairbrush. So I also have a little trick. If you are pulling your curls out and one section you maybe made too big of a section, or for whatever reason it is damp and still not dry and it's just gonna fall out, which is really annoying if you've got like one curl here and it just goes flat. So what you can do, roll it back up, bobby pin it, and then use your hair dryer on the highest setting to just kind of blow dry it a little bit, like put your hand on the other side, blow dry it a little bit, to get it to kind of set and dry. Leave it as long as possible. It's happened to me many times, so what I'll do is I'll roll up whatever curls don't curl, and then I'll put a little headscarf on, or maybe put it up into a bow or something just to try to hide the curls that are left. Or if you do it in a pin curl, nobody will probably even see it. So that's another little tip. So let me get a hairbrush and I'm going to brush this out. So lately when I'm doing my brush outs, I grab a whole section and also brush from underneath, just so you're getting everything. And if your hair is completely dry, this should not take out any of the curl. Now I'm not going anywhere today, so I'm not too picky about what this looks like today. I also can't really see what it looks like. Now I made a mistake here. Usually I would not do an exposed top section by curling under. I would do over because you want to have the lift at the root so you get the volume, but often I pin this back anyway, so, but yeah, just a hot tip. That's why there's a little dip there, you know. It's never perfect, always learning. Alright, and then my go-to styling these days is take a little section right here, tease, real talk guys, the last, I bought a new developer to bleach my roots and I don't know, left it on too long or did something, but it has given me the craziest dandruff and it is now all over my navy blue skirt. Probably more than you needed to know, but it happens. And then I've got a little bristle brush over, just so it's smooth. And then, depending on what the curls look like, let's see. Yeah, so I'll either just leave it kind of like that, or pin it. But if you continue brushing that out, your curls are going to come together a little bit more in a wave. But for the first day, I kind of like to have it like this, just some crazy wild curls. And then the second day, I go for a little bit more wavy look. But yeah, so the 18 hours works. But if you don't have 18 hours and you also don't want to use really, really tiny sections of hair, try out these tips and let me know if they work for you. Follow me over on the Petra Pan Apparel Instagram page, and if you try out any of these tips, tag me. Let me know if they work for you. because they've been a lifesaver for me and my curls. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, and like I said, check out the Instagram. And if you haven't already, check out some of my other fashion history content. There's going to be a lot more of that coming up, and some announcements about some very cool projects that we'll be undertaking. Enjoy the rest of your YouTubing, and I will see you soon. Bye!